What's going on, everybody? My name is Peter Deltondo, and we had a little change of pace for today. Originally, we were going to be on with Sarah, but luckily, our pal Chris Cannon was able to come in and save the day here and join us for the stream. So I am super excited to join Chris. One, because you're a good friend of mine, and two, because you're one of the most positive people and I think uplifting designers that I know. So super excited that you're here on the stream with us today. So Chris, if you can introduce yourself.
Thank you, Peter, for those very kind words. I'm Chris Cannon. I am a designer. Geez, what don't I do? No, I'm just kidding. I don't do illustration. Actually, I love doing brand and websites and product design. The reason why I love doing product design, oh, I should say all three of them, is because it's been such an they just go hand in hand. A lot of times when clients come to me, I run my own agency called Colors Design, and they'll come to me and say, hey, we need this app. And I'll ask them diagnosing questions of what they're looking for and how their scope is. And they're like, well, we don't have brand, we don't have this. So I've started talking to them and helping them understand how do we bring that back in there. And I've just grown to love brands so much. And then websites I've been a huge fan of too, because of what you can create from them, since they're your first impression when you come to a brand.
Yeah, absolutely. It all kind of goes hand in hand together.
Yeah.
And speaking of friends, one, thanks Andrew for leading in. Andrew's another one of our good friends, and probably one of my closest friends. So super excited that we just all get to be a part of this and stay connected right now. So really grateful for these shows. If you're new to Adobe Live, we do these segments really each and every day, and you can catch different designers working in various programs. Today, Chris is going to be working in Adobe XD, where they're going to be building out a project over the series of 2 days. And you get to see and kind of tap into their mind and understand what it is they're building, why, how they go about it, and learn about the software and the tools of how you do this as well. So really cool to be able to do that. It was awesome seeing you drink out of a green screen bottle there and just half your body
That
disappeared for a
wasn't on
second.
purpose, but the drink that I'm drinking right now is green. Ready for it to disappear again?
Oh man,
Boom.
that's
Yeah,
terrifying.
so today I'll be drinking green screen. It's very healthy. Um,
Well, and we've got a lot of other friends that we see here on the shows. And I love seeing the same faces come time and time again. It tells us that you guys really see the value of what you learn here on the stream. So it's awesome. We've got Sam, met Julia over in Germany. Appreciate you staying up so late to come in and watch this. We really love that. So let's take a quick peek at the schedule for today. We've got a lot going on, ton of content earlier this morning. I know y'all just came over from Andrew Hockrattle. Make sure you join him again tomorrow. And then after this, we're going to be doing the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenges with Andrea Epi, and then Doodle Therapy with Alice Lee, which is an awesome recurring segment here on Adobe Live. So make sure you tune into that. And yes, Cynthia is asking, will this be available to watch later? Yes, you can tune in now, and you can also jump in with us again. The replays are available here on Behance and on YouTube. Speaking of which, lastly, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to join us over on Behance. That's where we're going to be monitoring chat and all the conversation. So make sure you come on over and be part of that discussion. Real quick before we jump into the design of things, let's come on over here to my screen. And if you're not familiar with Chris yet and his work, As he mentioned, he runs this company, Colors, and is able to work with a lot of great brands and create some really cool things. So make sure you come on over here to his Behance page. Go check him out on Dribble and see the work he's doing over there. And check out his website as well, colors.design. He's gotten to work with a lot of great companies over the years and is just a wealth of knowledge and has touched a lot of products that you probably use on a daily basis. So make sure to check that out as well. And then, Chris, let me switch over to your screen. And why don't you talk to us a little bit about what we're going to be building today and how we want to go about this?
Sure. Um, so a lot of stuff that has been going on with our obviously the pandemic things we're getting to the point where we're starting to get back to school, and a lot of parents. And if you're in chat and you have kids, please, I would love some input. I'm really going to lean on the chat. I want to know certain things. We don't even have a name of the app yet. So I want a name of the app. And what I'll do is based on the name that I'm given, and this will be some. Do we still do polls? Are we still doing polls here with Adobe X or
I
Adobe
don't think we're
Live?
doing polls right now with the remote
I know we
streams.
in the past when we wanted names or something, they ran polls.
Yeah,
So,
but shout some stuff out in
but
chat and we'll take a look.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So let's do that. Let's have them look at basically or tell us basically what they're looking for or different app names, and we'll name it. And then I will offline. I'll design a brand logo for it to bring it back in, and then we'll just kind of I'll present that tomorrow as part of it. So today's agenda is going to be as follow. We're going to get through this as best as possible in the next 2 days. I
I just
wanted to make
lost
sure.
your XD though. There, it just blacked out on me.
Did it?
Yep.
Okay, let me stop the stream or let me
Oh,
stop
my
sharing my
big
screen.
face. Oh no.
Yes. But we love your face.
I'm just gonna smile and make it pretty for the time
Yeah,
being.
exactly. How about now?
Okay, we're back in action. Let's do
All
it.
right, perfect, perfect. Okay. I'm blaming you for that one. I'm just I'm just kidding. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into this. I've created 5 different screens that we have. If we make it through and we're doing really good
Uh,
on time, we'll get
we
to
blacked out
settings.
again. Are you toggling between anything by chance?
Nope.
Maybe do a
So
full screen share rather than just
will
Adobe
do. Let
XD.
me do
Yeah.
that really quick.
Hey, it's me again. I'm just gonna smile, tell you you're awesome because you probably need to hear that today. You're great. What you're building is fantastic. We're just gonna keep it positive.
How about now?
Still black screened. Man, we've
Still
been on
black
screen
screen.
share for like 45 minutes with no issues. What
I
happened
know,
here?
and no problems.
Um, Here, let me.
I stopped the sharing and I'm sharing a whole screen now.
Okay. Oh, okay. We're back.
Okay.
All right. Nope. All right. We're gonna emergency this one. Can you hook me up with live access to your file too?
Yes.
While you
Yes,
try to
we
fix
can.
that. If needed, will stream it through me watching you.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Here, I'll send you on Discord my Adobe account.
Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
It's
See, I can't
live
even speak.
TV. It
It's 'cause
happens.
it's
You know
because
what's
it's
interesting
Monday.
is like we're seeing a loading bar, we're seeing some stuff in the top right. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. And Tia, I'm
I'll be
glad we got to
honest
hear
with
that
you.
for you.
Let me tell you what happened to me this morning. So I was having some issues with my camera. Well, actually, I couldn't get it to turn on for some reason because it was the weekend. I had a 3-day weekend, and I was just doing a voice chat for a stand-up this morning for one of my clients, and I waved at the camera with it off. So you can tell how my Monday's going. The camera was off, waving at people, going, "Wait, hold on. Let me stop the screen share."
Yeah, maybe. Oh, nope, we're back. Hang on. I saw your desktop there.
Okay,
But
let me try it
let me
again.
open up XD2. Kind of waiting for that notice.
How are we looking?
We don't have it yet.
Did you share your, did you share it with me?
No, no, no. Can you share the XD file that you're working in with the
Yeah.
live design? And then hang on, uh, I would try screen sharing one more time.
Okay, it's on right now. Let me turn it off.
Okay. Sorry, I'll bear with us. In the meantime, what do you think we should name this app as we're building out this education platform? As we kind of have to rethink education and learning here through COVID. What are some good names here? And while we're doing that, let me highlight a couple of things as well. So, if you are not already aware, the community team at Adobe has put together a $1 million community fund aimed at providing resources for creatives that have been negatively affected here during COVID. The project will run throughout all of 2020, so there's no rush to apply, but don't sit on it. And Highly recommend you guys check that out. Those that are selected will receive a one-time grant to pursue a 2 to 4 week project. And when you guys can, make sure to apply for that. And I think Sam will drop that in. I'm gonna copy and paste that link as well in the chat. So yeah, Sam's got it there. Make sure you guys check that out. Don't sleep on that opportunity. It's really, really awesome. Um,
Cynthia is, oh, sorry.
okay, I have got your thing. Let me throw up my XD window. Give me a second, everybody, to set this up. Window
Are you
capture.
still able to see it at all?
No, I'm just seeing.
Okay. So it's just black.
Yep.
All right.
I'm gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way, and let's do desktop capture, display capture. All right, let me move this over. Okay. All right, so this isn't going to be perfect, but it's something while the screen share is not working. Leave your screen
I
share
won't
up
be.
in case we can get it working again, but
Yeah, I've got it up still.
okay, let me move this back. All right. I can at least follow along a little bit here, so we'll do this in the meantime if things are working
Perfect.
through. So I'm looking at the wires now.
Yep, perfect. So I'll kind of do that next slide concept here. And it looks like your screen, I looked at the stream and it looks like your stream went black for a second. So I'm wondering if it's,
Oh, probably me just moving around stuff, but I'm seeing it up now.
okay, good, good, good. Okay. So basically these right here are, again, we didn't have really the name of it, but if you scroll down to where all those are, the different screens, we have 5 different screens that I have here. And the 5 that I have going on is home, which is in essence going to be a dashboard. We're going to design classes, which is all the classes that you're in, notifications, which is basically you going in and seeing what push notifications you have on the iPad, messages, because obviously you are going to be away, and so we want to have that ability to message. And I think one key aspect I want to add to the design is the ability to video chat. So we'll lean on having video chat and looking at different things, and I think we'll probably lean on that design tomorrow. But today we'll focus on, I think what we'll do is the home screen, and then get as far as down through the class list, and then also to presenter mode. So in essence, a teacher then asks their classroom to come in and talk. And this is something I noticed when the pandemic first happened and kids were coming home and staying home and doing online. I noticed that there were several different platforms they had to use for that. And so I said, hey, what if we could just bring that into one app? And then that way the user can do it. And the reason why there's a screenshot up at the top there of classes, if you scroll up a little bit above that where the colors are at,
Mm-hmm.
there is a screenshot there. I want to use that because Apple does a really good job of sharing your screen and doing different things like that. And I think
Mm.
that is a positive opportunity for kids to be responsive and meet together and then have that experience of the classroom online versus offline.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it sounds like you're kind of creating virtual binders for them in a sense where
Yeah,
all of your stuff for science is organized into this digital folder. That's where you can go to maybe grab any materials and assets, lesson plans, maybe take your quiz, whatever things are there. And there's like it sounds like an open, maybe chat room or something like that, or video conference room where those gathering for that class can then meet. Does that sound right?
that's correct.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
Yep. Yep, that's correct.
I like that. Bedhead or pajamas for kids working at home in their PJs.
Yeah, yeah. We'll
Awesome.
call it pajama school.
Yep. So just kind of walking through, Chris, I've got it up on the first page here that you've got some color in. Kind of walk us through what the logic and thinking through these screens are. And we can make some assumptions based on what we see, but it's always good to hear directly what you're looking to build here.
For sure, for sure. So the first screen is I want to focus on is the home screen, which is it's going to be like a dashboard. So in essence, you'll have your daily calendar, which will be broken into tasks. Are you looking at the top iPad shot? Is that what
Yes.
you're? Okay,
Yeah.
that's actually that's my mood board. So that's
Gotcha. Okay.
actually Apple's classrooms right now.
Oh, cool.
And that's something that I'd like to take some information from and kind of build around how they're doing it. I
Hmm.
love the way that they're using colors. I brought in a color scheme here that I'd like to use in the app. I've got 12 colors, so that gives me to where if we, at least we use 8, it gives us the ability to have uh, 8 of those colors adapt to this. I think that's really cool. I also downloaded from Adobe Stock. I downloaded some icons. And so we'll use those icons inside of here so that we can have it. There's a few things that I thought was interesting, and let me see here really quick. There was a oh goodness gracious, there was another app called Classrooms by Google, and they actually did it interesting. So Apple's doing it where it's just a round squared card, okay, or a square card with rounded edges. And Google is actually going full screen on their classrooms. And so I wanted to explore that today and get feedback. Where Peter, obviously, you'd be a creative director, kind of leading, or product manager to kind of lead aside and help us understand where we're going to be going. But let's see here. But that's the concept behind this. This is kind of the mood board that I wanted to create and say, okay, I like some ideas from this. I also like ideas from Adobe or from Google Classrooms, so that way we can provide something there. I also, as I looked through different ones, like Canvas is another big company that does educational. Pluralsight does educational. Uh, it's not really for K through 12 or K through 12 grade. And that's obviously for the US is how we have that kindergarten through 12th grade, but it's not really for that. But I liked some concept that they had there. For instance, I really love the achievement. Nowadays, kids are playing video games. They want to be able to have an opportunity to have gamification. And so I think by having those achievements and have them celebrate them because they're not in class receiving those, it would be nice to have that. And I part of my plan is to try and animate maybe a pop or some concept to where the kids would be able to see that if it came in.
Hmm.
So I think that might be good for them to be able, because it's hard being home. It's not for everybody.
Right.
Homeschool or online school, it's not for everybody. So having that ability to really celebrate the child, even a senior in high school, having them understand that someone's there and having one-on-ones. That's the other reason why I mentioned the presenter mode or the messages is it should be an opportunity for kids to connect with the teacher or other classmates.
It's awesome, man. We the share was working just a second ago. Can you try sharing your whole screen rather than just
Bam.
XD? You are?
I am. Yep, I'm sharing the whole screen now.
Can you turn it off and turn it back on one more time? Because it
Sure.
was only showing the one program, and I'm wondering if that was glitching us a little bit.
Okay, so I'm just gonna let it turn. I'm gonna turn off for just a second here,
Okay.
so that way. Okay. Okay, I am sharing my full desktop.
It's still just showing XD. Oh, you know what? Let me check something. If it's anything on my end.
You should be able to see my screen move back and forth.
All right, it's working at the moment. Let's roll with that.
Okay,
And we're back out. All right, I'm going to follow you along the old fashioned way. Sorry, everybody. We'll go with that. So I'm going to try. It would be awesome if I could snap to you. But once you start moving, Chris, uh, I'll be able to follow a little bit closer.
for sure. Yeah, let's you know what? Since we're dealing with this, let's just move right into the home screen, and we'll
Yeah,
move left to right. So as soon as we're
cool.
done with this screen, we'll move to the next one rather than do it. So I'm going to bring my colors down here. Keep mentioning what the name of the app will be. We'll get back to that obviously here in a little bit. So we'll do that. All right.
And just for
Okay.
kicks and giggles, while you're doing that, try not being in if you're like using a tiled screen or something like that. I forget what they call it.
Yes, I am full screen. Do you want me to
Yeah,
go?
remove the full screen. I'm wondering if that is glitching it or something.
Okay.
But we'll keep going
Let me try that really quick.
because something is causing a problem. But we were on a call for almost an hour without any
Right,
issues.
right. That's what I find is interesting because I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay,
All
let
right.
me.
After that, we'll just keep going.
Okay.
The show
Let me,
must go on.
yes, it should.
All right, and while we're doing that again, make sure you stick around after this. We're going to be doing the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenges with Andrea, and then Doodle Therapy later today with Alice Lee. And then it all starts right back up at 7:30 Pacific time tomorrow morning with another great series of events. Some of these might change out tomorrow, but some will continue. I know Andrew's segment will be continuing tomorrow as well. All right,
All
and
right.
go ahead and try that stream one more time. That'll fix our cameras too.
Okay, so I'm gonna try this.
As long as you turn something back on, that'll fix the cameras as well.
Yep. Yep. All
Uh,
right. That should be it right there. You should be able to see my screen.
it's still waiting for it to start up.
Okay.
All right, I'll keep an eye on that. It's working for the moment. I'm gonna run with it.
All right. Perfect.
Okay, let's go. Let's go before it breaks.
Hurry, hurry. All right. So one of the things that I was thinking of here, let's start with the nav bar and then work our way across. So I'm on an 8 pixel grid. I am actually
Good
doing,
man. Good man.
I'm all about the 8 pixel life. Was gonna go with the 4 pixel, but I was like, you know what? I run at 100%, not at half percent. So, 8 pixel it is. All right, so I'm gonna do 80 here. And you know what the nice thing is? I did an iPad Pro. I know obviously when I mentioned, um, so let's talk about the situation here. iPads are pretty inexpensive when it comes to computing powers. My son and daughter, uh, one is 9 and will be in the fifth grade. Uh, excuse me, fourth grade, and then another one's in preschool. They can run everything off of their iPads.
Yep.
So it's pretty cool how that is. Now, the entry point here in the States for it is pretty good when you think about how much it is for 300 to 350 or 400 to $350. That's a pretty good price point for a computer, as Apple's trying to create that operating system. And so the whole thing I thought here is can a child run their whole thing with multitasking and so on and so forth? And that right there, I was like, okay, if that's the case, I probably want to start with the iPad Pro for my artboard. And then from there, we can work our way down with responsive resizing in the future if we were to move on to that.
Mhm.
That's how I would start my design on this, just because I feel like that's a middle ground is the iPad Pro, and then I can work down the iPad
Yep.
and then work up if I need to go to the 13-inch or the 12.9. So we have our nav bar in here. We still need to get icons for them. Um, Peter, are you a fan of icons, icon and name, or just text?
I think a lot of that also depends on, what we're talking about in terms of who the users are. And
Yeah,
so I would probably say in this case, because especially bringing in, kids young and older, I think doing something with icon and text is going to be really advantageous because if they don't
agreed.
get that icon, we know that they're going to understand the text. So anything that we can do to reinforce the simplicity is going to be ideal.
I would agree with you on that. So that's what we're going to do is bring in some icons here. Now I downloaded some from Adobe Stock. They have a pretty good selection, and
Yeah.
these are school icons. So I grabbed them from school icons. So I'm going to actually grab them and put them in my file.
Yeah. And while you do, if you guys are looking for great stock resources for icons, Adobe Stock is fantastic. Nucleo is a favorite of mine for product stuff. Streamline Icons, and I think Streamline 2.0 just released some
Yep.
fantastic icon suites. Like honestly, those three resources right there, you just never need to worry again. I think that they kind of encompass everything. So great places to be looking. All right. Are you doing that on a different window? I'm assuming. Do I still have you there, Chris? I lost your audio.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry, I moved the Zoom window around, and I think I muted myself.
All good. I've done that once or twice.
It's I'm more, I've been on Adobe Live for 5 times now, and I feel like a rookie. You're just dealing with those work from home problems.
Yeah.
So give me a second here. I'm just it's an Adobe Illustrator file, so I'm just bringing those over.
Awesome. Cool. All right. And just a reminder, if you were watching us over on YouTube, make sure to join us over on Behance. That's where we're going to be monitoring chat. So we'll be able to join you more on the conversation over there. On that note, let us know if you have any questions for us, for Chris here on the stream. We'll be happy to share. As Chris has mentioned, he's a product designer, does kind of everything brand, web, and product. I've got a pretty similar background as well. And hopefully we can impart a little bit of wisdom on some of the things that you guys are doing. One thing that I want to highlight that Chris said before, while he's pulling these icons in, is he mentioned an 8-pixel grid system. And if you have never used or unfamiliar with an 8-pixel grid system, basically it's breaking down how you space the elements of your design, kind of top to bottom, side to side, how you size and scale things, and it's all built around multiples of 8. The reason for that is that the number 8 scales really well when we look at things like iconography. All of your icons are typically designed at 16 pixel, 24 pixel, 32, all multiples of 8. And so when you bring these items in and you start aligning your text, your objects, etc., with icons, it all plays really nicely. When you get into the vertical rhythm and the spacing of your line heights, again, usually we reduce down to maybe multiples of 4 there. But again, everything starts playing really nice. And it's kind of, the reason they call it vertical rhythm is it's like reading a music sheet. Everything feels really well balanced and organized in that fashion. And so you start aligning everything, your um, the width of the navigation bar here, the size of the icons, the spacing of items top to bottom. You're going to eat, sleep, and breathe 8, 16, 32, 40, 48, etc. And it makes for a really easy and replicable pattern in your design files and for developers as well to bring these items over. So if you haven't yet, there's some great assets and articles online you can Google, or if you're in the Adobe XD Discord, if you go up to pro tips, I know I've shared a lot of articles in the past on the 8 pixel grid system. Highly recommend using it. It is far superior to the 5 or 10 pixel grid system just because mathematically those multiples of 8 work nicer with the larger majority of screen sizes than, say, a 10 pixel grid system. So it gives you a lot more flexibility and definitely something you should check out and learn more about. All right, so Chris, it seems like you're starting to pull these assets in. You're starting
Right.
to organize your file like a good designer,
Yep.
and organize your layers, your folders, and have all of these items brought together as you
Yes.
build out that
Yes.
navigation.
You know what's interesting? I'll take a moment here while I'm still working, but it's been crazy because when we and I'll mention this on our stream obviously because where it came from. Before XD was even here, we had Sketch, right? And before that we had Photoshop. And it's interesting to me that now our design tools are becoming such um, organizational tools, right? Like a project manager has what
Mhm.
they have so that they can organize it. And now we're presented with responsive resize and stacking and padding, and it's all these things to help us organize and to be able to move faster in our prototypes. And so it's wild to me because years ago we'd have been like, yeah, we're going to organize it this way, but now we have to rethink how we're doing that. Wait, am I going to put pattern or padding around this nav bar? Am I not going to put padding? And so you have to really think about how you're going to organize your, I'm going to say sections, right?
Yeah.
Section of a tab bar, or nav bar, and so on and so forth. So I'm thinking that way and saying, hey, how do we accomplish this? Where do we accomplish this area?
Yeah.
So I think it's because of our design tools as Adobe XD has, it's making us think that way,
Hmm.
which is a good thing.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think apologies if I say this wrong. Darian is asking in chat that they're really interested in using a lot of other tools. Might call them symbols. Or in here we talk about like components and how that all works and how we can link. And what Chris is talking about here is that it's essentially creating design systems and patterns and a library of assets that are create consistency. And I think there's an interesting challenge about this because it's almost a push and pull exercise of keeping that consistency, keeping those assets consistent throughout, but at the same time leaving room for creativity. Because if we just build solely with the idea here of repeating patterns and reusing the same elements every single time, things can start feeling very boring and kind of mechanical. So we still need to be able to think outside the box, and these documents become ever evolving and changing as the needs of a product arise.
Yep. Yep.
But we need to make sure everything's super functional. So
Absolutely. And
organizing this stuff really
biggest thing
helps.
is the biggest thing is like just right now, I was like, oh, I should turn on stacks because I want to be able to have the spacing here be the same. And then what I can do from there is turn it into a component. So it made me think like, how do I do this? How do I set this up? Do I want to
Yep.
use that?
8 pixels. It's pretty.
Yeah, I'm thinking on our icons though, we do 4 for the text underneath
Hmm.
because 8 just seems like it's too
That's too
much.
much. Yep. That's why I do the same. I do 8 for kind of everything, more or less larger items top to bottom. But when it gets into
Yep.
like type spacing, 4 does give a lot more flexibility, is probably the best way
Yeah,
to put that.
that's exactly right. Okay, so we're not there. Okay, let's name this. So I'm gonna do navbar icons.
And walk us through why are you naming the files in this new and mysterious way, Chris?
So different design systems require different ways. Different design tools that I use have that ability to where you can change out this component structure. And so I've just actually grown to do this. Now I'm also a developer. Yeah, I know. I promise I don't do everything. I really promise. But as a developer, typically this is how you think. You
Mm-hmm.
think forward slash, you think, and so I've just adapted because of my environment. And this is how I've kind of done that in that direction. And it looks really pretty when you get to that point of looking at your design system and how you're breaking it out.
Yeah.
What's also nice is when you're talking to your developer who needs to be your best friend, like
Yes.
literally
Very
you move
true.
into their house, you need to love each other. That's just what has to be. They create design systems in code. So this is how they think. They're thinking through forward slash, and that's how they develop it.
Right.
So by adapting to that, it gives you the ability to really create it for them also. So you're not doing double work in the future.
Yep. And I think, did we lose you again? Nope, we're good.
No, it did a blackout.
You went quiet, so I just went full
I
radio
did.
silence for a second.
I'm sorry.
All
See,
good.
normally this is how it would be. So if you want me to be like an actual designer, I'll just be like this. I'll just turn on my music. I'm going to work. Hey, one other thing I didn't choose was a font, and I really love to see what chat wants for a font.
Yeah,
Something we
what?
can download from Adobe Fonts.
Yeah, what's everybody's favorite type selections? I,
For product, let's throw that in there.
yeah, for product. That's a good point. Because you know me, I like to wireframe in Comic Sans because that's my jam. I love wireframing in Comic Sans. My brain cannot take it seriously, and I
Yeah,
am
yeah,
fully able to separate away from just starting to design because I'm guilty of that. I start wireframing and then I'm like, ooh, colors, photos, images, and all of a sudden I've just designed the app and I've built one screen.
yeah.
So yeah, Proxima or not Proxima. Proxima is a good one. That's probably one of my favorites. Um, but yeah,
See,
give me
this is my favorite.
Zapfino,
Yeah,
little
you know what I'm
papyrus
saying. You
in
just got a
there.
little calligraphy in there, right? You
Yeah,
know, it's fancy too. You know, I like to be fancy.
yep. I like Darian Montserrat Work Sans, two great fonts. Montserrat is a fantastic one. That might be
Yes, it
a
is.
Google font. I don't know if that's.
I think it is. Here's another good one if you can understand this.
Oh, Chris. Oh, Chris.
Wingdings.
But yeah,
Wingdings.
I think Proxima Nova is a fantastic one. SF Pro can be solid, or SF Pro is the Apple one, which I don't think you can
It is,
use
but this is an Apple app, and we are allowed to use that. Fun
within.
fact on the dev side, you can actually use that on there. But and it's great for accessibility.
This is true.
Juan, if you're listening in on the stream, just he's a huge accessibility guy, and he always tells
Me?
me
I don't know what
like,
you're talking about.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
accessibility is super important, and it is something you
yes,
should absolutely educate yourself on.
yeah,
Again, hop in the Adobe XD Discord. I know I've posted a ton of articles about accessibility. Very important. And as we are talking about building out an app for education, accessibility is really a mandatory. I mean, it should be on any project that you do, but especially when you're working in fintech, anything related to money, finance, medical, and education.
yeah.
Those are three uberly important areas where
Let me
accessibility
check
needs to
out
be at the forefront.
Sophie Pro. I love that you can work sans. I don't think I've ever used work sans. I have a lot of fonts,
Yeah.
a lot. Because I do brands, I typically will hoard. Matter of fact, Adobe fonts will yell at me and say, "Hey, you have 265,000 fonts."
I
No,
remember
I'm just
those
kidding.
days. Before I had fully switched into product, I had way more fonts than
Yeah,
I should ever have had.
yeah,
And because like you go to you work somewhere and you're always like the first thing you do as a new hire is like download a copy of all of the fonts there. And just
yeah.
over the years you accumulate that. And once I got into product, I'm like, cool, I've got about 5 to 10 that I regularly use. Everything else is just deleted.
Yep. Yeah. You know what's interesting too is I have fonts that people look at it like my wife's not a designer. I'm like, baby, there's a difference. She looks at me and says, no, there's not. I'm like, no, baby, there's a difference.
I love that was one of the ways I knew I married the right person when my wife would go out and we'd be up for dinner and she'd be like, I really don't like that sign. The type they selected is terrible. And I was like, baby, I love you so much.
Yeah. I found the one.
Yeah.
You know, seeing my wife is on the other side, so she's in the medical field. So she's one of the frontline workers right now during the pandemic. But she actually is like, please don't. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I'm not gonna say none. And then 10 seconds later, I look at the billboard and I'm like, oh my goodness, they photoshopped the layers wrong. I could see problems with it. And she's like, married to a designer.
Well, let's grab one of these fonts and let's start building out.
So I'm gonna go with
Poppins is a classic.
maybe we'll see. I'm trying all of them. So Cumin Pro. I don't know. I'm feeling. I like the spacing, the line spacing on a Cumin. It's good.
Let's do it. Let's go with it. That's the thing. I mean, that's why I like. I think Source is a great one. Proxima
Yeah.
Nova has the rounded version, regular version, and then like every possible weight in between. And that's the thing. You got to find the fonts that you like in the libraries and suites of those families that give you a
Hmm.
lot of range. At work, I kind of skipped over this. So I'm a design director over at Unfold, and we joke with ourselves like we actually every once in a while don't allow ourselves to use certain fonts because we tend to Campton, Montserrat, Open Sans, Proxima Nova. Like we really default to a lot of them. Poppins being another one. That's one we use for our branding. But there's a lot of great type out there.
All right. So I've got notification. I've got several choices for. Let's go this one for notification. So I've got several good ones for class, but Chad, I'd love to hear what you think represents a class icon, and I will get the rest for settings and messages while we're
Yeah.
waiting.
Yeah, and everyone, make sure you submit your portfolios, your Behance portfolios, for a chance for Chris and I to give those a review before the end of the stream. We've got about an hour and 20-ish minutes here left today, and probably about the last 20, 30 minutes, we're going to be doing those portfolio reviews. So make sure to check that out. And while you're grabbing that, yeah, Travis brought up, the ethics of using fonts and fonts licensing. I think it would be naive to say that everybody at some point in their design career has intentionally or unintentionally used things that we shouldn't have from a licensing perspective, whether you didn't know better or maybe you couldn't afford it at the time. But I highly encourage that whatever you're doing, whatever you're working on, build that into part of the project cost, build that into your clients or whatnot. And it's always really important if you go use an icon suite, if you go use type, if you grab photo assets, that you have your client purchase the rights to those items and to those licenses. So that way nothing can fall back on them, nothing can fall back on you. And as you become a creator and designer who is maybe starting to build out things like your own font families, your own icon packs, other assets, Photoshop mockups and stuff, you want to support the people that are doing that. And so it's really, really important to do that for moral and legal reasons. Highly, highly recommend you go do that. All right. So Chris here is just pulling over some notification or some icons. So again, let us know what kind of things here symbolize to you guys these different things: notifications, classes, messages. This is bugging out a little bit for us, but I think we're okay. There we go. So for classes, I might recommend something like a book or a binder. Maybe we have an icon somewhere in that family as well. It could even be a pencil, something along those lines. But, we can clearly see, I'm going to pull up my XD here as a backup, Chris, because it's bugging a little bit
Blacking
again.
out. Okay, I did open up that file, the Illustrator file in XD, so it is probably causing a problem.
Okay, it's a little more stable at the moment, but
Okay.
so we've got our cogwheel, I'm sure, for settings, our chat bubble for messages, and we've got a nice notification bell for notifications. So yeah, I think let's grab an icon for classes, something that suits that really well, and I think we're off to the
Okay,
races
so
on
I'm
that.
thinking, so we got this one right here.
Uh,
Okay, so that's books. And so we have that. And then we also have this, which is also books. All
okay.
right. Give me just a second here.
Yeah, I'm just kind of zooming in on those so we can see them.
Okay.
So one thing I would say about these icons is that in context, it's maybe a little bit more helpful, but it's kind of hard to know that, this here, I realize you can't see this is my biggest request to the XD team is to be able to show the arrows of the other person so we know where they're at.
Got those icons open.
Yeah, and Abdullah has a great idea here. If you've got one of maybe somebody pointing at a board or a whiteboard, I know I've got
Okay.
some files. Actually, let me see if I can.
Here's the kit that I downloaded for the other one. So we've got some better ones here. I was using those just in case this didn't open or was taking a while. But I really like this one for our home icon.
I don't. Okay,
You
now I
able
see
to
it.
see? Okay, perfect.
It's going back and forth.
Is it?
Yeah.
Can you see the other? Can you see the other file that on top of it, or is it
No,
only
it's
see?
it's going in and out. It might be maybe if you can simplify some of the things you have open, maybe just drag it over and then.
Yeah, I've got it open in another one. So let me copy and paste it and bring it in here.
Okay.
1 second.
Well, every time I switch back because I see it's working, it wigs out again.
It wigs out. Yeah.
All right. But yeah, maybe
There we go. Scroll. If you scroll down just a little bit on your screen, you'll be able to see
perfect.
what I have there.
Okay. Yeah, something like these notebooks here.
Yeah, I'm thinking we use class books. The
Something like this,
school,
the
I think
board
we use for
stand.
home. And then we've got a bunch of others. The desk might be good too, rather than the class books. Or we have the board stand, like she mentioned.
Yeah, I would maybe do something like that because the only thing I would be concerned about these is the scaling of some of these as
Yeah.
it goes down, just for
Yep.
readability. But I mean,
Yep.
we could
And the other
probably.
thing is too is you can always manipulate icons. If you bought a kit and you're like, hey, I don't like these, start with it being the top of it and then work your way down. Like something we may not like is we shrink down the school. You won't even be able to see what the windows really look like.
Yep. And we'll see. I'm gonna try to help out, and I'll design an icon for you here. Maybe a little whiteboard. So let's do something like that. I'm gonna go with like a stick figure for the moment, just for
Okay.
for speed. But Yeah, we'll build something out like this. All right, awesome.
Hmm.
All right. So we've got our little stick figure man.
Let's see what happens when I take that. Let's get in here. Oh.
All right. And then we'll just thicken this up a little bit. Oops, wrong one. Let's do a stroke. All right, so we'll find something better, but in the meantime, we've even got something like this that we could utilize. Let's put that over there for you, Chris. All right. And I think your screen's working good again, so I'm gonna switch back to you.
Okay.
As it goes out. All right, where are you at? You're down here?
Yeah, I'm still trying to grab this icon.
All right. I'll try to help out with the ones we've got. So we've got board stand. Oops.
Yeah, I'll bring that over here in a minute. Give me a second here. I'm gonna try. Let me try something on my end. Okay. I'm gonna stop my screen really quick
Okay.
and try something here. So I'm gonna switch to a different camera, see if that helps us with the stream, one that's not
Okay.
4K.
Oh, in case it's doing something like that.
Yeah, let's bring that down so we can see if that helps us.
All right. That is working at the moment. So
Yeah, so let's try that. It's not that great of a camera, but you know what? We're gonna keep the ball rolling here.
yeah, no, that's great.
Let's see here.
All right, that did seem to help stabilize stuff.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, so we're just grabbing these assets and pulling them over, and then we can start kind of applying some styles too. So
Yes, we can.
I'm gonna pull down a copy down below while you're working on that nav bar
Oh,
and just start playing around. I'll help you out there.
okay. Oh. Oh, let's get rid of that. Did we miss anything? No, it looks good. Group these together. Bring that down. Okay, so that's at a 400. 16.
I think something that would be really interesting too is, as we get into colors and the psychology of all of this too, is like what colors are going to be most, appealing to people, just like how red, yellow is going to make somebody hungry, blue make somebody thirsty. Finding
Yeah.
what is going to help people concentrate and maybe leaning into some of those colors as well. There's a lot of interesting, things that you're going to research on a project like this to see what's going to be most effective. And a lot of times, as we pull some of these, like we might grab, say, the darker blue, and then we're gonna I'll switch over to my screen for just a quick sec. Like we're gonna come over here, and maybe I still want this to be a gray, but I'm gonna pull it into and get that kind of tone. So we have a very light blue here. It really feels more gray, but it keeps the tonality of things the same. And so we could come in here maybe next and say, hey, I want the icons to be this dark blue color. And this is now going to work really well together because it's coming from that same kind of family of color. So little tips like that you guys want to experiment with along the way. But we'll see where Chris is going to take this one, and we'll switch back over.
Yeah, and this is the other thing too. I'm actually more of a fan of filled
Mm-hmm.
icons than line icons.
Yep.
They're harder to see, but I wanted to show that distinction here of where it is. So afterwards, after the stream, I'm going to go through and I'm actually going to turn these into solids. Just because, I mean, I should be able to do them now. Yep, there it is. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So that's the nice thing about Illustrator files. They work great with XD, and so communicate pretty well together.
So you can come in, change all of the vector
Yeah,
assets, the strokes, the fills, etc.
correct. Yep. That. So we have that there. And some of the other things too is you may want to space. So if you hit enter on there, drag that over a little bit when it comes to spacing here. That way we get that same fill that we had when it was aligned. Same thing here. So we have that ability to really push forward there. So there's that. Let's take these right here. And I know it sounds weird that I'm talking through my process, but
No, that's what we're here for. We
yeah,
want to learn and see how you do this. And I always say a lot of times too, part of design, if anyone's out there and thinking, oh, I look up to designer X, Y, or Z, and you think that whatever he or she creates is just magic off the bat, it's not. It's lots and lots of experimentation and
yes,
really working through all the bad ideas to get to the good idea. And sometimes that comes back to your first idea. Sometimes it's just 20, 30 options down the road as you try out all these little different variations that end up, each bad thing, when you start comparing it against something, is what leads you to feel confident about the final outcome. So don't be afraid to explore. Don't be afraid or bothered if you get frustrated along the way. That's just part of the normal process.
yes, yes. Everything's not what you see in a case study. Somebody
Yes.
worked really hard to get to that point. Um, and it's a lot of, I don't like that. Take that off,
Yeah.
move, do this. That's what design's all about is, and I'm probably most likely going to clean this up a little bit more, but I'm liking where that is right there. So here's what we'll do. We're going to change that color. Got to do this right here. So let's change that border to black. Not all of it. Let's see here. Hey, there it is. I grabbed the other one. All right. There we go. And again, I'll clean these up a little bit more later.
But just starting to
So
lay a foundation for stuff.
yeah. So chat, which one do you think is better? Which one do you like? Do you like the standard one? Do you think that's going to be showing off of the house, or do you think we should go with more of a little bit of a complex one that has a little more style to it, but it's definitely something that both of them will work when it comes to accessibility. Both will know like that's home, that's my dashboard, and then we also have the word there, the text below it. So by having that text below or that label below it, you're using both forces, one as image, one as showing that, oh, that's what they're trying to distinguish that from. Let's see. 1 second, I'm trying to turn off my notifications. Perfect. Okay.
Can't send you cute text messages during the stream.
Yeah, you know, you get those, hey, honey, can you go pick up some milk? And that was not, you know, it was cool when you were in San Francisco doing that, and it's like, well, I'm in San Francisco, it doesn't work. But now that I'm home, you know, you can't really. It's like, oh yeah, I'll do that after my live stream. You just told the rest of the world that's with us to go get milk also. All right. You know, I'm really liking the style of this one, prefer to this one. So I'm going to take this over here and I'm going to move it for now away. I'm going to go with the style of these Streamline. I've fallen in love with these Streamline icons. I love them to death.
Yeah, Victor's a really good guy.
Streamline, right? Or Steamline?
Streamline.
Streamline, there we go. I knew I said it wrong. Yeah, phenomenal job with them. So I'm most likely going to pull that. I just like the weight of them. I like the way that they feel, and that you can just use them for any iconography that you can find.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I bet you we could find a lot of school icons under there. So we brought in 2 different ones. We'll look at the ones that we can do, see if we can combine them. If we can't, we'll go to back to the drawing board and clean them up after the stream. So 16. That goes there. And then I'll start to clean these up.
Yeah, I think just getting a little bit of a flow and layout here, and then we can start kind of designing what this panel is going to look like.
Yeah. Setting up my stacks.
Yeah, and we were talking about if you guys have any ideas for what the name of this app should be, let us know. I saw one before that I really liked, of Portal, since this is kind of becoming really a new portal and kind of a hub of everything these kids and students are going to be doing. So Class Portal got mentioned by Martha before, and something, maybe bringing in club or hub into the name. It could be the school hub. Could also be something that, as this is built out as a SaaS product, it could be, we could also brand this, Chris, where it's kind of white labeled for a specific school. And so it doesn't even need to necessarily fall under like that umbrella banner. It could be, without getting into schools I went to, in case there's some like weird password security thing here, let's just call it, I don't know, Chipmunk Academy, powered by Class Portal or something like that. There's a lot of opportunity here that could be branded in any fun way.
Yeah.
And yeah, Carrie, we were talking about before. I think it's an important reminder for everybody to see how we work, because you look at Chris's portal, you see all these super finished projects, and then you watch the process, and it's like, this is just like me. We excel in certain ideas, we struggle in certain ideas, and I think since imposter syndrome is probably one of the hardest things that we as creatives probably deal with on a daily basis. I deal with it, Chris deals with it. It's probably actually the biggest thing that I work with my team in kind of helping people overcome is imposter syndrome. It's really something that weighs down on us. And so have confidence and while we often forget it, almost embrace that fact and that feeling that this is just something that's going to happen, and lean on a community of great people that you can talk to and discuss your project, share ideas, and get feedback to really dial stuff in. Um, that's going to be a really, really important thing for you all. And that's
Yes.
where I would say, if we come over to, let me pull it up on my screen, and I'll switch over here for a quick second. If you guys come on over to, again, the Adobe XD Discord, I highly recommend that you check this out. There is just a great community of designers here. You'll see myself, we've got Maddie, Joss, Alexis, other members. Is my whole screen blacked out? What the heck?
No, you got choppy for a second. You're good.
It flipped my monitors upside down. Okay, hang on. My secondary screen is literally upside down.
I didn't do that.
Okay.
I didn't do that.
No, you didn't do that, but this
Nope,
is...
nope. I am not a hacker. That's how it is.
Let's go here. I'm going to switch back to you. Oh, man. Okay, let me... The heck just happened? All right, bear with us, folks. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. What the heck? All right. What is going on here today?
Monday.
Seriously. All right, my top screen is straight up upside down. This is really weird. All right, but we can see you. I am going to work on fixing our cameras here.
Am I upside down though? I'd love to be. If you could just rotate me 90 degrees, that'd be great. And I would just be off to the side. No, you're fine. We're gonna get through this stream together. And then tomorrow we'll start 2 hours before the stream to make sure it lasts that 2 hours, and then we'll go back into it. So, but I did wear my my famous Adobe XD shirt today. See that? I don't know if everybody can see it.
The one, I haven't gotten one of those XD shirts.
You know
if only
what?
I knew somebody at Adobe.
It's a keepsake. I actually swore that I wasn't allowed to talk. Like Fight Club, you don't ever talk about Fight Club, which I just broke that rule. But it's definitely something that you can't say who gives it to you online. You have to talk in private. So I took an oath.
All right. All right, I'm going with good enough fix for the moment. I got to get chat back up on here. Okay. All right, catching back up on chat here. My other monitor is it's upside down. I can't see. All right. Yeah, make sure you check out Chris's work. If you are just joining us, by the way, we are building out an education platform today. So, as schools are transitioning quickly into online learning due to COVID, we're kind of building out what could be a online portal and a way for students to access their education, their learning, do their group calls, and kind of simulate that classroom experience here all online. So this is super relevant. And I don't know, maybe if you're watching and you are needing somebody to build out something like this for you, maybe talk to Chris. He might be available for such a project. All right.
So we get rid of that.
Carrie is saying it is so valuable to see how other people work, to see the ideas that break and see how to push through. I think that's a very key thing. Not afraid to leave something that isn't working. And I love Behance Live for this. I love it too. I think that's probably my favorite thing to see. And
You look
Andrew,
really
thank you. We
close.
are adapting on the fly. That's exactly
Yeah.
what is going on.
And if you look at me and Peter, we're not sweating at all.
No, not at all.
That's
I
how you
need
know that
more deodorant.
when you don't sweat under pressure, that's when you go from a junior designer to a senior designer. When you don't have to sweat under pressure, you're good. All right, so I'm gonna group this together. I'm going to create a padding on this. So we'll keep it 12, 12. We're gonna actually change this to 40 and then move this up. Okay. And then, oh, I like where you're going here. So the reason why I didn't go with the blue icon, because in accessibility, did you know blue is the most changed color?
Most changed? What do you mean by that?
So when you have eye colorblind, when you're colorblind in your eyes,
Okay, I follow.
it changes to a certain color. So I actually didn't go with that, and I was thinking about going purple because purple actually turns to it, in some cases when you can't see blues, purple looks blue. So I was thinking about playing with purple for accessibility because that's a big thing right now with this app is I kind of want to add, obviously this is never going to be shipped, right? So it's something I want to think about so that we have that conversation, but I wanted to look at different colors and certain things that we would have. Excuse me. Apple, this is one of my favorite colors because I think this gray works really good. F0, F2, F4 is the hex. But I think it works really good with the eye. So with accessibility, I feel like it's a very successful color. Am I allowed to say successful accessibility? Is that how?
I think
That's a
that
mouthful.
works.
Yes. Okay. And I'm gonna pick a name from the last person you just typed. That's who this app's gonna be out there. There we go. Okay, and I need to change that to our font, which was, okay, we are cooking now. What's Tia's last name?
Tia Reed.
Reed. I cannot spell. There we go. And then what we're going to do, come on, work with me. I just need this top part. And we're going to go with semi-bold.
Okay, sir, that's awesome. We've got a lot of folks watching. Thank you all for bearing with us. This stream has been riddled with technical difficulties, but we are getting through it. So excited that you are all sticking around, and we will hopefully be a lot smoother tomorrow. I don't know what keeps going on, but we're running into like every hiccup that we can. But Chris is a pro, and that's why we're getting through this and we're building this out.
Yep. I am getting a spinning wheel.
Retro.
Yeah.
We had to say it, and then something new had to go wrong.
I don't know what you did, man. No. It's this text. It's not loving me anymore.
Well, while that is spinning, if you are just joining us, again, Chris is designing an education platform app here as we face the new challenges of COVID. Up next, we are also going to have the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenges hosted by Andrea Eppy this week. And I think next week, if that series is just kicking off, I'm going to actually be hosting the daily creative challenges starting on the 17th of August, running through the 28th. So make sure to tune in for that. Be doing another one later in September as well. So just finished the lesson plan for that last night. Really excited. It's going to be a ton of fun. And then at 2:30, make sure you join Alice Lee for Doodle Therapy. That's a super fun segment over here as well on Adobe Live. All right, so we're just kind of getting in the content for this. We've got our icons over here on the side.
Yep.
And then we've got, looks like we're going to start building out what that daily calendar and kind of lesson plan is going to look like.
Correct. And I'm going to, for the sake of time, basically steal our concept from what the calendar looks like in the iOS, what's it called? The iOS 14's calendar for Apple.
Cool.
Just kind of to look at the lines and see how that is, just for layout purposes. And then we'll start plugging in colors that we want to use.
Awesome.
Okay, so we'll get rid of this.
It's a part of me that wants to fix whatever's going on with these screens, but I'm afraid to break anything else.
I know. Get this at 240. You know what? Let's go 320. There we go. We've got enough screen space.
Yeah.
And then what I think we do is we use this space right here. And I'm thinking through my process on live rather than saying, hey, here's the final product, because I'm trying to think through how things would be.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we do is on this side is we have our view of what we have due, different things that we may have to work on. And then on our left side, or excuse me, on the right side, I think when the user clicks on that, they're able to see content and what's going on there for what we would call a detail view. So this would be our list view with all of that, and then our detail view would be here.
I think that sounds really good.
Okay. And I'm going to give the list view, I'm going to give it 480. Okay. And then, or the detail, sorry, excuse me, the detail. We're gonna have it be 16 pixels off of here. And then we're gonna have this be 32. I've got 26, so I'm gonna actually bring this back. I can't wait till we get a Adobe XD team, if you're listening in, really looking for that preference panel. Said this on Twitter before. Hoping for that nudge. Really want that nudging in preference.
That 8-pixel nudge.
Yeah, I talked to Andrew about that, who's one of the the vice president of design now. And I said, dude, I gotta have it. Like, can you put it in there? And he was like, it's a coming. We're gonna, but I don't know when. I don't know when. And I was sworn to secrecy on that too. So.
That would definitely be a nice feature that a lot of us would love to see.
I'm ready for a preference panel. You know what? Don't give me a Photoshop panel. Don't give me an Illustrator preference panel. Just give me Nudge. That's all I want. That's all I ask for.
I'm with you. Nudge would be a fantastic addition.
Yes. And you know what? We're going to use stacks, and we're going to use scrolling in this right here. Now this one we won't need it, but that's what we'll do here. I really like the 16.
Yeah, the stacks feature is really, really cool. And something else that I think we can showcase, Darius was mentioning this before too, is getting into component states as we design these out as well, which we've got probably about 20 minutes more, Chris, here for today. So, as we start comping out what some of these items are, and maybe I'll jump in, I'll help on the details panel or something like that. You work on the main one, and then we can show how, or maybe you know what? Why don't I start building out a little bit of that on the side? maybe you can showcase how to use component states to do like an active or a hover state on maybe some of those icons.
Well, I won't be doing a hover state on iPad,
Oh, that's true. So maybe
but
a
well,
tap state,
technically, don't they have a hover now? But it's just a box over it.
more of a focus state.
Yeah, there's a focus state that they have now on it. My son, when he uses his iPad, he has a mouse, and so I've seen it there where it pops it like a bubble. So you know what? Let's test that. Maybe we'll do. Maybe that's what we'll do. I'm going to give you your lines right now. So I'm going to actually be building out a repeat grid,
Ooh.
so we can give you time. Go to 1 pixel here. And repeat grid. Ooh. Okay, let's go. 60. Let's go 72.
And with repeat grid, so Chris is able to make a couple of elements and layers here, and then repeat that and adjust the spacing. So this is a really easy way within XD to quickly build something out. If you want to replicate something many times, it's a fantastic feature to be able to utilize.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very much so. Then we're going to give it. Okay, so the one thing that I didn't do that some people may think was weird. So I didn't use lines, I use rectangles. And the reason is because I like the fill concept when it comes to components rather than using the border color, which when I use my my eyedropper, I want to be able to do it very quickly. And so I use I quite a bit as the hotkey. And so that's why I went with a rectangle at a 1 pixel height rather than a line.
That makes sense.
Okay. Since we have some space here, we'll bring this over so that way we can use it here.
All right, so you're setting up the time there, kind of like building out that full day calendar view.
Correct, yeah. And I'm going to turn this into a repeat grid.
Okay.
So I can use that text over and over again. And the nice thing about it is I can actually go into here and I can spread this out to match.
And you can also build out like a whole block and then repeat that action item as well. Or
correct, I could have done that. You're right, I could have done that too. So we'll go 32 on that to get that in where I want it to be. Oh, wait, hold on. Looks like I'm missing a. There we go. So that's at 64.
Cool, so we're building that out. And yeah, when you get a chance too, let's make sure we show those component states as well. Even if it's just a different state here, you know, if it's active or pressed, We can still show active versus standard. All right, so walk us through as you're building this out. So you're setting the different times, and
Correct.
I can do those for you if you want, and share what's coming next.
Uh, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put rectangles like you had over here, and then just space them out over the time, giving it a little bit of space on each side. So what we'll do here is we're looking at, this is 320. Let's give us 4 on each side. So the nice thing about Adobe XD is you can actually use add subtraction or any type of mathematics in here. So 320 minus 8, that gives us our size at 312. Make sure we have a 4 pixel gutter here. The other option I could have done is, after this is all set up, if I would have thought about this firsthand, I could have said, hey, you know what, let's do padding on the inside. See how this looks. So let me add some colors to this. Perfect. So this is a great time to talk about this too. So I don't like this color being as dark it is when it's on certain elements. So what I want to do is start working on tints for it. So I'm going to give myself 3 tints. I could do more. You could actually do this in colors.adobe.com. There's also coolers that you can also do shades of it. That'll take the work out for you. There's tons of tools out there that can do your shades or your tints. So let me do that while we're in it, and then I'll work on a lighter shade for that. And if you don't see me doing something, it's because I did it with a keyboard bind. So my apologies.
See, I'm old school. I've never been a big hotkey person. I've always been the manual way, which is bad of me, I know. But yeah, so we want to come in here, kind of give different. You could do it through opacity. You could do it by creating the overlay effect here, and seeing what's going to work really well. But yeah, you can lighten that color. Like you could bring it down to say a 5, 10, 15% opacity, and then put a darker color on top, and it still allows you to segment these out in the way that Chris is doing these colors, but make sure that the text is really readable and it doesn't just punch you in the face with a lot of colors as well.
Correct. So I think this will be good if we put some black text on it, but we'll work with it and see. Again, this is trial and error. We're going to look at it. Now, over time, normally I wouldn't do this on screen. I'd have this all done and get it all taken care of, and I know where it is, but I want to show the process. So these right here would be what's due. So we're going to have a due date at the top. I am getting... Wow, text seems to have a bad problem right now in our stream. Like every time I start to type, it freaks out. Date. Perfect. Assignment name.
All right, we got about 10 more minutes here. And then we're going to be doing some portfolio reviews. So if you have been active in chat, I've seen your name come up quite a bit. We're going to be reviewing your portfolio as well as somebody else. So make sure you stick around for that. It's going to be fun. Oh, don't worry, Darian. I'm going to get this component state today. It's going to happen.
It's happening. It's going to happen. Oh, today. So we have 10 more minutes. So let's jump to that.
All right, you jump on that. I'm going to play around with this a little bit more.
Okay. So I think due date, assignment name, and category or class needs to be on there. Doing some message or just doing my naming conventions really quick, and then we'll get going.
And explain what you're doing as you're doing it there, so we can see too, like how that is getting put together.
So what I've done here is I've got a group here. There we go. Okay, so I've got a group here. I've got tab bar or nav bar, nav tab, which is the different tabs that we have, and then we have classes. And I could name that differently. I could have done tab bar. Very nice on the colors, by the way. So I could have done tab for that, or tabs, and then what the tab is. But if you look here, what the nice thing is now I can go in here and I can look and I can say this is the nav. So this would be nav bar, tab bar, nav tab. And then this one would be nav bar. So I've got that all squared away now. So as you can see here, just like it would be if your developer was looking at it, that's what it would be. And you would have all that. And you could set up padding to this, you could do different things. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to set up this. So we're going to go in here, we're going to create a component. Since my naming convention is already there, it should automatically take it. So now I have my default state. So we're going to actually do a selected state and then as the default state for, or excuse me, I apologize. It's going to be, I need to change this over. So regular. So regular. Okay, so there's our default state for this one. So we are going to actually add a selected state. So new state. Selected. Okay. And let me think, how do I want to do this? Okay, so one thing I want to do is I want to have the text be bold. Okay. Okay, perfect. Want it to be bold. And then what I want to do now, I want to add a rectangle around it. I love that make background. So good.
And you could do simple things here too, like color changes and things like that, just to show how that's going to interact.
Yeah.
I'm just building out some class types over here down below. So when we get back to that later, we'll have some fun classes to take a gander at.
Okay. There we go.
All right. So how? Okay. So you're building the active state with like a background. I see.
Yeah. I may change my mind later. But this is what I'm thinking right here. Okay. I think for the purpose of, yeah, I like that. I like that. I'm gonna spend some more time on it, but let's see if this works correctly. I may have done a boo-boo, but we'll see.
All right. Well, let's show that off, and then let's maybe kind of give a little bit more walkthrough on the class day, and then let's jump into some portfolio reviews in about 4 minutes.
Yep, that worked. Look at that.
All right, so
Perfect.
walk us through how that's working. I know we got to see you, but let's verbally kind of walk through for those following.
So one of the things is that I set up the default. If I go into my under my default state, I have a background. Something new that's in 31 happened in 30, Adobe XD 30. They actually had something here where you could make a rectangle a background. Typically what it does is if you have a stack going on, you have to make sure you move that to make it the background. So that's what I did. So I made this the background because we have a stack there, and the stack lives right on the component. So as you can see here, and I have padding added, so I could remove padding if I wanted to. But by adding this rectangle here, I was able to do it. Now the rectangle actually will disappear once I select the default state, which is the unselected. If you saw there's actually some issues with padding, and that's something we'd have to work on. The option you could do is say for instance, I was like, hey, you know what? I want to do this in the beginning where I added that rectangle. I could have put it in the original state and then turned it off so the spacing was correct. And then from there in the default or in the selected state, just clicked on here and then hit it or unhide it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's something I can actually do now. So if I messed up, hey, you know what, let's go back in and fix it. We can do that. But I like that new feature where you can add it as a background. That's something that is very, very nice. Because I know in other stack tools that use stack, oftentimes you have to figure out what your padding is in certain aspects. So that helps really fast to just get it to the background if you want to use it as the state if you want
Yeah.
to use it, a
And
selected state.
And I know we're still having some issues with the screen a little bit, and things got a little pixelated. So we'll make sure we touch base on this again tomorrow, everybody.
Yeah.
Apologies for all the technical issues today, but we'll make sure we touch base on that. So real quick, maybe Chris, you can just kind of go over to the calendar view for a quick sec. I'll explain what I was just messing around there really quickly, and then we'll jump into some portfolio views. And what we started setting up here is just as you go through each of these classes, we want to be able to kind of visually distinguish what we had. So Chris had that screen earlier in his mood board where each class kind of had its own digital folder and they were color coded. So bringing in that color palette that he had, utilizing a really low opacity for these backgrounds, which you could play with. I've got it 20%, but you could take up lower, you could bring it up a little bit more, find that sweet spot that you like. And then, giving it a little bit more of a stronger colored bar on the left-hand side to really emphasize that color, and then utilizing the text. And this helps you at a glance to be able to look at and see what your day is going to look like, where you're at in that given day, and know what classes and things you have to do. So just one possibility that can be explored, and Chris can carry on with that more tomorrow. In the meantime, Chris, I sent you 2 links on Discord. If you can open those up, and let's take a look at those portfolios and run through what we got. And hey, Pavel, what's up, my brother? I can hear you say it the way you say it every time you type that out. But let's take a peek. So I know we've got some portfolios here from Darian is one of them, and we've got another portfolio. If you can pull those over to your screen.
Give me just a second.
All right, and if you were just joining us today, we've been working on a online education platform, and Chris is going to be carrying on and working on this more tomorrow. So make sure you tune back in at the same time, 12 to 2 Pacific Standard Time, and we'll be carrying this over as well. And while Chris is pulling over those items, just to go over the schedule one more time, we've got up next the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenges with Andrea, and we've also got Doodle Therapy to close out the day here with Alice Lee. So make sure you check out those. All right, and Chris, you could probably make this a little bit bigger, just so it takes up a little bit more of your monitor space, and we can go through and check out Darian's profile here.
Tell me if that's showing up good.
Yeah, seems to be running pretty well.
Okay. And then I'll pull this one up.
And we just, okay, there we go. Went black for a second, but I think we're good.
Okay. I've got both of them up here now. I'm liking the fab icon. Really, pen tool. I like it.
It's the little details.
Yeah, it's that visual aspect to say, oh. And if you're a product designer or a designer hiring on somebody, you're going to recognize that and make that distinguish. Like, oh, okay, I know this is a vector-based designer.
Yeah. Well, let's check out some projects and see what you think.
Okay, so featured UI projects. First of all, I know this is not his Behance, but it's pretty impressive with the website design or development too.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's go through this. Phenomenal job on making a electric company turn into something that looks fancy, because a lot of times it's hard to take blue collar companies and make them look new, improved for the 21st century.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them actually, a lot of blue collar workers are very like, oh, I like the old fashioned look. I like that. So the fact that you were able to accomplish this with this website design, kudos.
Yeah.
I think kudos. The scope, I'd be curious to see how the conversation was, the scope, the strategy.
Well, I think that's one thing. If you go back up to the top, right under the hero, I love that you have here what my role was, how long it took you, the tools that were used, getting into what the goal, who the client was. Those details are really really important, because a lot of times we see design and we just go, this is a really pretty brand or a great website or whatnot, but we don't think about the time that goes in to do something like that. So saying that, hey, this endeavor took 6 months, 12 months, 2 months, whatever it might be, I feel like is also important in kind of furthering and bettering the design community as a whole, that others get a gauge of what things may realistically take. And for clients to see that, hey, when you get those inquiries that say, I just need a simple website, here's my 19 pages and I need it done next week. And when folks get to see that other comparable websites, the amount of time and care and craft that has to go into that to build something successful,
Yeah.
that's really important. So seeing that, hey, a site like this took you 2 months to do, what does that then mean when somebody reaches out to you, that they're going to have kind of those same expectations? So might help you also find not just better clients, but the right clients that are truly a fit for you, and get rid of
Yeah.
some that aren't worth the time.
Yep. Yeah. And I liked the fact that he talks about what his role was. That I'm a fan of that, to let them know, because a lot of people will put something up on their website and be like, "Oh yeah, I did the whole thing," when in actuality they did the design and not
Yeah.
the profile, and it can get you in trouble, because people can come to your site and say, "Oh, that's great content that I saw
Yep.
you put on another website. I want you to write content for us." Then you're put in a bind to say, do I say no and lose the full project? Or do I say yes and then try and figure out how I'm going to do that?
Yeah, and I've seen designers where they put a whole project in their portfolio, and then you come to find out that they just did like the photo retouching or something, but they showcased a website like it was theirs, and then you quickly realize that person that you might have hired or brought on for a job like wasn't the right fit, and that's more
Yeah.
damaging. Like, just own what you did on stuff, and be
Hmm.
really transparent about that.
Yep.
Cool,
Agreed.
cool.
Agreed.
Let's keep getting into a little bit more of this or another project, and then we'll switch into the other portfolio.
Okay. So we'll slide down here. Yeah, I love the colors that you used. You kept it very, I like the grays that you're using, because a lot of the electric boxes are those colors. So you kept it inside their wheelhouse. Um, I love that you did the style guide the way that you did it. Recommendation on buttons. The gradient might be hard to see for people who have accessibility problems or are colorblind. So keep in mind with that, for the gradient. I do also like the logo. The new logo is pretty legit.
Yeah. Well, let's
It,
pull up one more project from Darian, and then we will switch over. One other item on gradient buttons for an accessibility purposes, when you build that out, the way that that is scored and tested is whatever the lightest color in that gradient is, that's what is going to contrast check against your text. So even if that darker orange in this example, I'm just making something up, passes, if the lighter one doesn't, it still fails, and it's still a
right.
hit on your accessibility score. So just something to know is you use, and you can use gradient buttons, but both colors used have to pass contrast ratio to score for a double A. All right, so let's
So
check
I'm
this
just
one
looking
out.
through the different. I'm looking at cross country TV. I think that's the one I want to look at. So, okay, he's got. It's here. Okay. All right, there it goes. I am a fan of the majority of it, but I will say that some of the shadows, which are hard to do when you first start out, you really have to work on shadows to master them. But I think that they make it seem a little outdated. Would you agree, Peter? Where some of the shadows here
In this
underneath
section
for the
here.
pricing, yeah, and the pricing,
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I thought you meant the presentation. Like, that doesn't bother me, but I hear you. There's a very very subtle shadow.
yeah,
I think you can see it on my screen. Like, yeah, just under here, that It might be the way that this mock-up is being displayed, but yeah, I would
Yeah.
rather see it be a little bit more subtle, a little bit more spread out to where it's like almost just barely noticeable, not
Yep.
feeling like a standard just kind of default drop shadow.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing that I would have done in this is not per se the design, but the way it's presented is separate mobile and show me mobile and then also show me desktop. Because you may laugh at this, but most people struggle with mobile still, and it's 2020.
Hmm.
So by showing them that you actually can create a good flow and process and spacing's good on a mobile device at 320, that sells people quite a bit.
Yeah.
So separate those so we can see both of them.
Yep. Yeah, it's good to showcase that as well. Well,
Hey, let's
cool.
jump
Well,
over.
yeah, great job on these projects.
Yeah.
Excited to see more from you.
Yeah. How are we
All
doing
right.
on time?
We got 6 minutes left, probably about 5 minutes. So let's
Perfect.
pick two of these and maybe go through.
And let's jump into gents. All right. So social media is big right now because obviously we're home and we have to be on social media more, right? So I wanted to pick this one. I like the choice of social media stories. I like how you're going here. Fun fact: ESPN just added stories to their app. So
Hmm.
you either live long enough to put stories in your app or you die without it.
Let's say, or you don't sell your company in time.
Yeah, exactly. So I like the flow of this. Good job on using a very impressive kit from Cat. You undraw. Do you see that there?
Hmm.
Yes. So the only thing that I would suggest on this is maybe do it differently. I'd like to get the granular aspects of it before I get a video. That's me, obviously, but I'd like to just, but love the fonts, love the coloring.
Yeah, one thing I would say though here is I'd love as we get deeper into the app where like we see messaging and stuff like that, the type here is really just too small to actually be read throughout most of it.
Yeah,
So if that's one thing I really recommend, utilize and leverage Adobe XD Mirror app on iPhone and Android to be able to, while you're designing, like I keep my phone just docked in front of me here on a little charger, and I can have XD connected at all times. And as I'm designing, I see it in real time on my phone. So I can look at it as though I was browsing it and go, wow, even though this looks fine on my computer, this is just too small on a mobile device. I need to make something larger. If I had to guess, there's a lot of type here that's probably in the 8 to 10 point range, which is really just too small. You want to be 16 and above for anything that needs to be readable. You can get away
yeah,
with 14-point bold occasionally. It won't pass accessibility, but sometimes under 14 does get used. But it's really tough. And so there's just a lot here that, you know, give yourself more workable space to design. I feel like some of the margins kind of come in when you come down to, if you scroll, I think down, Chris, um, like the
down towards
indicators here.
messaging, search.
Yeah, so like how like here where this button as it is kind of encasing these icons, like give it a little bit more room. Everything
Right.
feels a little like tight and crammed. Where you've got like a ton of space underneath here, you want that to feel a little bit more consistent throughout. So I
Yeah.
think this app needs adjustments. Like it's one of those where I'd say you're probably about 80% of the way there, a little bit more like 20% refinement to really dial this in and make this thing feel totally locked down.
Yep. Yep. And you don't have to use shadows if you're using borders. You
Hmm.
don't have to. The purpose of a shadow is to draw attention to it. or to make it pop off the canvas, right? We use shadows to really have that real effect. And you can notice that if you start to look at the trends that are happening with iOS 14,
Hmm.
with happening with bringing back with skeuomorphism and all these other different things that we used back in 08 to 2010 and so on and so forth. And so as designers, we're seeing these trends where people want to start using more shadows, but shadows and borders can get you in trouble. They really can. Because if you even look with these right here, where it says nature, art, word, styles, there's a border and a shadow, but because of the shadow, it's taking away from your white space, so it seems too tight.
Hmm.
So play around with that and really work on shadows, because it can make or break a project and a product.
Yep.
Okay, so let's jump out of here and go to another one. What are you thinking? Air Max?
Let's do it. Yeah, I think we've got time for maybe a real quick review on here, and then we're gonna wrap it up for today. Make sure you guys tune in again tomorrow. We'll be back here with Chris as we finish his education app from 12 to 2 Pacific Standard Time tomorrow.
Yep. All right, so this one's pretty simple. Showing off animation. Pretty impressed by it. Love that he used a GIF here.
Yeah.
So really nice. And if you notice here, it's very clean. You've got lines. You're using a lot of white space. So super impressed that. I could tell here though that your add to cart is not centered. You're making my OCD go a little whack there, but you know. But just make sure to do those final touches and spend another 5 minutes on these.
Yep.
10 minutes, 20 minutes. That's what's going to make you a better designer next to the next person who is always looking for perfection.
Yeah, especially when you're looking to get hired, when you're looking at portfolios, if you start seeing something that's like, oh, they didn't take the time to correct a couple of these things, then you go, well, they're going to do the same thing if I hire them and bring them on for projects, and I have to spend extra time buttoning that stuff up. So yeah, with Chris, take an extra 5 minutes and just review everything like you were reviewing somebody else's work and clean up those details, and you'll be in good shape.
Yep.
With that, though, I do think we are running out of time. So thanks again, Chris, for joining us today.
Of
Reminder,
course.
jump back on with us tomorrow. We'll be back here at noon Pacific time, and we'll catch you all on tomorrow's stream. Take care, everybody.
Take care.